There exists a certain level of Gorilla Tag, unmatched by any other group of players, able to traverse this game like it was second nature. Professionals at work. Most people don't even know that this level exists. High level Gorilla Tag never seen before. But some players are different. Almost godlike. Alright, so I'm sure you have read the title and all that, and you'll know that I actually got banned from this game and it is a false ban. But I'm gonna prove that it's false by starting this video by checking myself. So if you don't want to see all that, and if you think it's boring, skip to this time. Alright, so I'm gonna start with some in-game checks. First, we'll start with predictions. Here's my Preds check. Okay, so first of all, if I come to here, and if I do that, I don't fly forward. Steam movement is a little bit weird, and so I move a little bit just because I have higher Preds than I would on Quest by default. So I move a little bit, a very little bit, but that doesn't really mean anything. Also, branching is near impossible with speed boost, just because of the amount of, just because of how far you go off of like barely moving. It's like, see, I can perfectly still control how far I jump. So if I want to barely make a jump, I still can. So at the start of making this video, I really wasn't that good, but I'm definitely not as good as I was now. But making this video has taught me a lot about like how people actually learn this game and how to get better myself, because you know, I would actually like to be good before teaching you guys. So now that that box has kind of been checked, let's get on with the start of the video. Just like almost all things, there are levels to being good at this game. In this video, I'm going to teach you every different variation of the hybrid playstyle, from the absolutely insane playstyle, like make everyone think you're cheating and move like that, and I'll also teach you some things of how to be accurate, fast, and still make your game look smooth. I'll give a bit of an example on both of those. First off, so another pretty relevant topic with this is if you have access to a good enough PC that can run this game, and if you also have a link cable, then I would play this game on SteamVR. It does cost about $20 on Steam, but Steam is becoming very common for really good players, and even more so for casual players who want the game to run better. So I think that if you can, if it's an option, I would, but all of this does still apply for standalone Quest. But just to put into perspective, I was banned from this game falsely, then I made an appeal, then that even got rejected, meaning even the admin and staff think I'm cheating. And it's another good disclaimer to just say that being that leveling up your skill level in this game takes a long time. I've been playing this game for around 3 to 4 years. Just don't expect it to be an overnight thing. Improvement can come quickly, but fully revamping your playstyle can take months, maybe even years actually. Alright, so now we're going to talk about something that SteamVR excels at: ground mechanics, and overall how to polish your ground gameplay to a professional level. And if you're going for a hybrid playstyle, which is what this video is catered to, ground is usually the first thing I practice on a hybrid playstyle, just because it kind of ties everything together. You can't go from branches to walls without the use of ground. a whole lot of the time. It's a lot more important than a lot of people. Being a ground player doesn't mean you're a ground main. You still should be good at ground if you're going to be a hybrid player, or even just a walls and branches player. Then instead of going for more hits, instead I would go for strides, like that. And then also using all of your reach when running. So instead of going like that, instead going like that. And also, you see how I'm perfectly gliding across the ground and not like going up in the air? That's something that comes with a lot of practice, but see how I can't accelerate in the air. So it's pretty important for running fast to very low to the ground. So now I'm going to be sharing my run technique. So the technique is a modified version of the crab walk, which is like this. That's what a crab walk looks like. Which could be faster with a couple of modifications. So we'll start with turning your head. So I'm looking left and right every time I run. So I'm going left and right. Look left, look right, left. I could never prove it, but I swear this makes me a lot faster. I think it boosts your player model. Then also, the way I move my arms, I go my right side to where I'm running, but this is also possible left side. I'm just not good at it, so I take my right hand, put it out as far as I can, bring it back, then once the side of my arm hits my rib cage, then I flick back to the back side of my body. So now my controller's over here. Then I cross this is when I'm looking right. Then I do the same thing except just about here, then I flick. Then sometimes I'll come back from here, then I'll do that, or I'll just bring it back, then circle. It works both ways. Here's the other way. I'm not as good at it, but it's good to do every like five steps or so. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just swap out like that. Well, that is how I run on ground. It's probably more in depth than it needs to be, but end clip. Edit, no, next section, branches, next video. Branching, honestly, is way easier to be precise on standalone Quest, but it is way easier to be extremely fast at it on Steam. I'm not good at it yet, so. If you want your branching to look like the try-hard end of the scale, then exaggerate your head movements a lot. Like, instead of going like that, instead I would go like, then also, if you want to look like a try-hard, then you also need to be flicking as much as possible. Same is also true on ground for that. Also, just because of the amount I'm flicking, it looks like I have extra Preds, and so that's why I don't do that. And if you want your branching to look extremely smooth, like this, I would go for lower in-game turn speed. Like, I would go for something like 5. Still pretty fast. I would go for like 3 actually, but also don't flick at all. Make sure you're moving your arms in complete motions. And so the slower you move your arm, the less predictions you're using. So instead of having like 2 hops on each branch, instead I would do like 1, but make it more of like a swipe. And so instead of going like, instead I would do one swipe. One. And so after you get used to branching with swipes instead of like jumps, then you can actually branch fast and still look smooth. Next thing, we're going to talk about how to long jump and how to be consistent at long jump. So I'm going to be using this one as a demonstration. So we're going to talk about some special techniques for it. But if I wanted to do it completely normally, then I would have to push down harder to compensate for not being able to move at all in real life, and also not being able to use stick turn. So I'm going to put some good long jumps to practice on screen. Cut. And those are the only ones I'll do for now, but just know that there are hundreds of them. We are now on to our next section, which is walls mechanics. Alright, so how I would do this, or how I would teach professional walls to someone who already knows the base mechanics, like how to wall run, how to vertical a little bit, how to Lucio, how to slip slap and all that. I would teach them the difference between good walls and professional walls is diversity. So eventually, with good players after you, they're gonna recognize how you do walls, and so they're gonna know how to play against you. And having people know how to play against you is, well, bad, so practicing every skill very evenly, and so you can switch your wall's playstyle at a moment's notice is pretty much crucial for being like a professional at it. And if you don't already, learn how to wall run the whole map multiple times consecutively. But once you do this, then you'll have the muscle memory to do every single zone on walls just off of learning how to wall run the whole map. I already know where to jump down a little bit to make a jump, where to jump over, where I need to go fast because the wall is vertical, and where I need to cut back and reset. I know all that only off of practicing wall running the whole map. So now, flicking is pretty important for walls on both platforms. First of all, if you're falling off on Steam, you could just flick and then land on something else. If I was on Quest, if I tried to do that, I would not be able to flick over to the walls. I would not be able to pull that one on. Also, you can flick cut back if you're going to fall on slips. Like, for example, let me give a quick example of that. For example, I could do something like that and then flick hard and fast enough to make it back to a spot to where I can recover. Then I could try the slips again. And the reason I'm not going to be covering any different wall motions is because walls motions vary heavily per person. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about how to go super fast. So first of all, flicking perfectly at the direction of the wall. So I would flick here, then basically just fly over to the edge of the wall. Takes a while to memorize perfectly how your flicks are gonna work and how to chain them together effectively to go a lot faster than with normal wall running. I'll give a bit of a comparison. So this is without flicking. This is with flicking. It's a lot quicker. And so going with the smoother motion on the us end is a lot easier than flicking up. This might just be personal preference for me, but I personally can't do a flicky, a vertical up. Like, that's how far I go. If I do it normally, then I can actually climb the wall. And also, now's a good time to say that I'm not very good at verticaling, so it's more of just like a fast wall run, but it counts in my book, and it also counts as diversity. At the time of recording, I currently have about 4 more weeks until I'm unbanned. And the reason I am not very upset about being banned is I personally take it as a bit of a compliment to, first of all, be falsely banned, and then furthermore to have your appeal rejected. I take that as a bit of a compliment, but drop your opinion in the comments. But I'm gonna probably post a gameplay video in public lobbies in about 4 weeks when I'm unbanned, and so let's stick around for that. I'm sure I'll have some time to improve my gameplay in those 4 weeks, so if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, and